In this video, I want to tell you all the things that I wish I knew as a dirt bike beginner. What's up, Rad family? I'm Dakota Freeman, and welcome to the Rad Adventure Dude channel. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, make sure you hit that and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. No matter what style of riding you like to do, whether it's track riding, trail riding, desert riding, riding on the road, our riding is always going to constantly be evolving. And we always want to make sure that we're working on our rider body positioning. All these riding principles that are getting instilled into our riding now is going to carry over with us later in life. That's going to be the most important part for a dirt bike beginner, is just riding with the correct riding position. I know it's going to be such a fundamental thing that you're constantly having to work on, improve, and you're always going to be learning new ways to actually get more control out of your dirt bike. Never get stuck in just one type of riding and shun off anything else. Because as a motocross rider, you love riding tracks, you love hitting jumps and going fast around the corners. Well, actually getting into trail riding can really make you a better rider as well. Because when you're trail riding, you don't know what's coming around the next corner, and it really makes you agile on your dirt bike. Because you're not riding the same course and the same track. You're on a trail where every corner is going to be different. There are going to be obstacles in the way that also keep you on your toes, and this is what's really going to make you a better dirt bike rider. So as a dirt bike beginner, you really want to focus on learning how to ride a dirt bike in the safest way possible. This way, as a dirt bike beginner, you're gaining confidence, and as you get better on your dirt bike, you feel more comfortable. Being comfortable on our dirt bike is going to be the most important part of our dirt bike riding. If we're comfortable when riding on our dirt bike, we're naturally going to want to ride more often, which is going to make you a better rider. So make sure you practice your riding position over and over until it's truly instilled into your riding and you're no longer having to think about it. This is going to be such an important part to becoming the best rider possible and no longer being a dirt bike beginner. As a dirt bike beginner, you want to make sure you know how to use all 5 of the controls, which are going to be the throttle, the clutch, the gear shifter, the front brake, and the rear brake. These 5 controls are what you really need to master to become the best rider possible. When learning how to go faster and learning how to shift through our gears, we're going to be using the throttle, the clutch, and the gear shifter. And to improve our riding, as we're shifting gears, you should practice standing up when you shift your gears. This is going to make sure that you can ride your dirt bike for longer periods of time because you know how to ride your dirt bike smoother. As you stand up off the seat, this is going to make your riding better instantly, as you can go over rough obstacles much smoother. And these rough obstacles aren't going to be putting force into your body. However, you're going to be standing up and letting the bike take the abuse, making you a much better rider. As a dirt bike beginner, we want to learn how to use our rear brake before we really develop skills with our front brake. This way we can learn how to stop the bike safely before we're really aggressively using our front brake, which is more of an intermediate braking technique. As we're developing better skills with our braking, it's going to make us naturally better on our dirt bikes. We're going to be using our rear brake combined with our front brake, and we're always going to make sure that we keep that front wheel pointed in the direction we want to go, and that we're never using our front brake while the wheel is turned. That is a recipe for disaster, as it will lock up the front wheel and put you on the ground. The most important part of our riding style is keeping our head nice and smooth. We want to make sure that when we are riding our dirt bikes, that our head isn't just getting bucked around and bobbled all around, but that we can keep our head nice and smooth as we're standing up in the attack position. Keeping our head also over the handlebars gives us more control over the front of the dirt bike, making our body position be more centralized on our dirt bike. Having our head over the handlebars and our elbows up is going to be the most important part of our dirt bike riding style. And no matter if we're sitting down or standing up, we need to make sure that we're riding with our elbows up and our head over the handlebars. Once we've gotten through this as a dirt bike beginner, we really want to make sure that we're focusing on our corner speed. Corner speed is going to be such an important part to becoming faster on the tracks and trails. If we have good corner speed, then we are actually ahead of the game, because corner speed is the most important part for any dirt bike rider. Everyone out on the tracks and trails are hitting the same jumps, they're taking the same lines, and really whoever is the fastest in our corners is going to actually become the fastest rider out on the tracks and trails. So make sure you continually practice your dirt bike cornering and always be working on leaning your dirt bike over farther and farther. You want to be able to lean your bike as far over as you can and be able to accelerate around a rutted corner to get the most speed out of your cornering. Also, the farther you lean your bike to the inside, you're going to have more of a turning radius, which means you're going to be able to turn your dirt bike sharper. So make sure you practice this, as it's really going to make you a better dirt bike rider. Is this video helping you with your dirt bike riding? Well, make sure you like this video and drop some comments down below and ask me any other questions that you have. Let's go ahead and cover some jumping tips that I wish I knew when I was a dirt bike beginner. When you're coming off of a jump, however you come off the jump, you're going to continue in the air in the same direction. So if you come off and your nose is wanting to drop, it's going to want to continue dropping throughout your flight. If you come off the jump and your front wheel is a little too high, it's going to want to continue doing this throughout the entire flight as well. So how do we fix this whenever we're new and we're wanting to learn how to jump correctly on our dirt bikes? The first part of this is going to be being in a centralized location as we're coming off of the jump. This way, we aren't too far forward and we're not too far back. We obviously want to be standing in our attack position with our head over the handlebars and our weight centered over the bike. We want to make sure we're in a good gear to be able to come off the jump and not be at too high of an RPM range and not be at too low of an RPM range. If we come off the jump and we're at too high of an RPM range, then when we come off the jump, our nose is going to want to be too high. This is because the acceleration off the bike is going to want to pick up the front wheel and continue that throughout your flight. If we come off the jump and we're coasting or we're at too low of an RPM range, this is going to make your front wheel want to drop. So to avoid that, we want to make sure we're in the correct gear. So when we accelerate off the takeoff, that we are not going to run out of power and we're not at too low of a power. This way we can have a good, even takeoff and continue our flight in that same correct path. If we come off the jump and it's not how we wanted it to go, there are a couple of things we can do to help fix this. If you come off a jump and your nose is too high, what you're going to want to do is to actually pull in the clutch and to tap your rear brake. When you pull in the clutch and tap your rear brake, this is going to bring your nose down and help level your dirt bike out in the air. The reason we want to pull in the clutch before we tap the back brake, because if you tap the back brake without the clutch pulled in, it's going to want to stall the dirt bike even in midair, making it to where when you land, it's going to land much harder with much more force to your body. And this is not what we want. So make sure you pull in the clutch before you tap your rear brake. To get the front end up as we're coming off the jump, then we want to accelerate. So as we're in the air, we're going to actually grab a handful of throttle, and this is going to pick your nose up and help you level it out so you don't continue going in the jump with your nose going down. We really want to make sure that when we land on our dirt bikes that we're landing with our rear wheel first and that we're standing on our dirt bikes. This is going to be very important to making sure that we have the smoothest landing possible. And the last part of this is that we land with the throttle on. Accelerating when we land just helps smooth out our landing and give you better control as well. If you land without the gas on, it's very easy for the bike to get kind of wobbly. Whereas if you land with the throttle on, it's not only going to give you better acceleration when you're landing and make it much smoother, but it's also going to help straighten your dirt bike out if you're not landing perfectly straight. So this is why you want to make sure to land with the throttle on, so when you land, it's as smooth as possible. If this video helped you, make sure you like this video, drop some comments down below, and ask me any other questions that you have. If you're still looking for more dirt bike riding tips, I'm always here. I've made a full dirt bike riding course over on my website that's going to walk you through being a complete beginner and take you to an advanced rider, mastering the tracks and trails. I also have a full free dirt bike guide over on my website as well. Just sign up for my newsletter and I'll send it straight to you. Make sure you click the subscribe button that's right here and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. After that, you can watch my next video right here. Stay rad, and I'll see you over there.